What up, everybody? The Season 3 finale of Raising Kanan concluded with the return of Unique after he'd already been presumed dead by law enforcement and everyone else after going missing for a few months. But the end of the episode concluded with the return of Unique standing over his brother and Malcolm Howard. And I'll get to the ramifications of that in a minute, but I want to spend a minute talking about the clues from Unique's return that could tell us where he's been over the last few months. First off, keep in mind that the current timeline is either beginning of May or the ending of April in 1992. And Unique has been missing for at least a couple months on this timeline. So when Ronnie initially dropped Unique in the landfill, the month was most likely February. And I know that New York weather is terrible this time of year. So because of this, the first thing we would have to consider is that Unique didn't spend too long in this ditch. Otherwise, he would have died down there from hypothermia. When I had something very similar happen to me, I woke up in the hospital the next day, pulling IVs out of my arm, and I left the hospital immediately. So most likely, Unique slept it off and woke up sooner than later. And most likely the cold had something to do with this also, his body forcing him to wake up to avoid freezing to death. At the end of the episode, when they zoomed in on Unique's face, we can now also notice that he had a large noticeable scar. So because of that, it looks like he also most likely had either his head stapled or stitched together once he woke up. But at the same time, one thing to keep in mind is that he might not have needed to get anything done, and he might have just healed naturally because after he was beat by Ronnie, there was no blood gushing everywhere like crazy. Then also keep in mind that Unique was dressed in all black jacket and hoodie when he returned standing over his brother. And this was not how he was dressed when him and Ronnie got into the fight at the tailor shop. I mean, this is kind of obvious. He's not going to be wearing the same clothes for 2 months. But at the same time, this lets us know that somebody likely knows he's still alive, getting me to where I think Unique has been. I've heard a lot of theories going around that Unique has either been with Stefano or Ronnie came back to get him, which both could be true, but I don't think either one of them is correct. Because I don't think Ronnie would have dumped Unique in a ditch just to come back and get him later on. And what would have been the purpose of Stefano hiding Unique, keeping it a secret, and letting Rock take over Unique's whole operation, if he already knew Unique was alive? He also gave Rock his condolences for Unique, and why would he done that if he knew that Unique was eventually going to return? I believe that Unique went home to stay with his mama, the place that he knew he was going to be able to lay low and recover and be safe from his brother at the same time, or any other kind of retaliation from anyone else. This subtle clue was thrown in when Famous met Ronnie face-to-face for the first time, when Famous was telling them that he was moving back into his mom's house. Ronnie kept asking Famous a whole bunch of questions. When Famous replied to one of the questions that his mother loves him, Ronnie went on to tell Famous that not even his own mother wanted anything to do with him. But she most likely didn't feel the same way about Unique, and Unique likely knew this. Getting me to the fact that Panessa told Rock that Unique would never disappear because he would always come back for Jerome. But Unique was playing dead until he would recover, hoping that he would have the opportunity to get revenge on Ronnie himself. So he had to wait until the time was right before he could let Panessa know that he was alive and check in on Jerome. So Unique waited until Panessa moved back in with her mother to let her know that he was okay. This is why when Ronnie was in the house with Juliana and Panessa came in, Ronnie was asking her what she was doing there, thinking that she had no reason to be there because she had already got all of her and Jerome's things. But Panessa wasn't actually there to get Jerome's things like she said she was. She was actually there to get the rest of Unique's clothes that Ronnie didn't take. Because we already know that Ronnie took all of Unique's jewelry, which Unique probably will feel a way about. A lot of people think that Unique will want revenge on Kanan and Rock for killing his brother. I personally don't think so. If anything, he'll just be mad that he didn't get a chance to take out Ronnie himself. Possibly even adding to the darker persona of Breeze, becoming even more violent because he was never able to actually get his lick back on Ronnie. But Unique most likely waited until Panessa's mother went to church to let Panessa know that he was alive. Because he definitely wouldn't trust Panessa's mother with that kind of information that he's alive when he's trying to pretend to be dead. So most likely he told her to get his clothes and bring his clothes and Jerome out to his mother's house to visit him. Getting me to the problem that Rock and Kanan killing Ronnie and Howard and leaving their bodies next to each other is going to cause for Unique and force him to just go ahead and stay dead for good and change his identity. Rock went ahead and killed Howard to make it look like he was working with Ronnie and his crew, and that was who was working with the Italians in season 2, to get the smoke off of her and Marvin. But there is one giant flaw in this plan. Ronnie was in prison all of season 2 while all this was going down and just got out of prison the same night. So this would put all the blame on his brother, Unique. Since Ronnie was locked up, they would most likely assume that Unique was the one running things while he was locked up, and that he was the one responsible for the whole operation. Keep in mind that Tanner asked Howard about Unique at one point, but Howard didn't want to place any blame on Unique for some reason. This was actually the direction I thought Howard and Rock were going to take when Unique initially went missing, and would have been the way to go, because they can at least place Unique at the Jersey projects and in jail at the same time as Marco Boselli. This will just be another obstacle that Unique will have to face as he is introduced as Breeze in season 4. I wonder if they're just going to let us know from the opening credits saying Joey Badass as Breeze, because I heard a rumor that episode 1 is titled Breeze is Here. And there you have it. Leave your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments.